Today we're looking at how to make these jet stream things. So the first thing that you will need is a particle sprite. I've got one that I've made here. If we just open this up. So it's 1024 by 1024. It's just a pretty basic smoke particle. No alpha on this one, I don't think. If you just Google smoke particle texture, you'll be able to find heaps on there. So you'll just have to source your own particle sprite texture. So once we've got that, we want to create a new material, call this M Steam. Open this up. Oops. Then what we want to do is change this to additive, blend mode to additive, shading model to unlit. Then we bring in our texture, and because it's black and white, all the channels are the same. We can just take any channel, the red channel, plug that into opacity, search for particle color. I think that's it. Yeah, plug the RGB into emissive. That you should be able to see something. Apply that, save that. Now we create an instance of that. Material instance Steam. So that's fine. Now we want to create a Niagara system, which we will base on the fountain emitter. That's fine. Niagara system, just Steam jet small. We'll start off with making the small one. Okay, save that. And before we get stuck into the settings, we want to create a few variables. So we'll create a float, call that cone angle. Create another one, float, call this spawn rate. Another one, call this spiral iron. Another one, sprite size boost. Another one, float velocity boost. And the cone angle we want to set to default value of 20, spawn rate 5000, spiral animation 0, that's fine, sprite boost 1, velocity boost 1. Okay, now for the fountain we want to delete gravity. We want to add under particle update, I want to add sprite rotation, change this to 500. Then we come to our sprite renderer and we plug in our material instance that we made before. So that's fine. Right, now emitter. Spawn rate. I want to change this to multiply float. And in A we have our spawn rate, click and drag. And in B we have float from curve. Okay, so because we sort of want it random and intermittent, so we don't have to really worry about animating it, we actually have to set this to basically be a spiky graph. So this can be 0, 0, then middle mouse click. This can be 0.20, then we make another one here. This can be 0.3, 0.21. these both to 1. And this can be 0.3. This can be 4. Oh, hang on. Yeah, we want to set the very first key to 2. So this can be 0.1. Set this to 0. So we just want to create some spikes or a sawtooth graph that sort of animates on and on, so on and off. So that's fine. Middle mouse click to add keyframes. Then this is 0.5, so let's go 0.1. Make this value of 1. And let's go 0.6. Make this 1. And then if that is 0.6, and this can be 610, that's fine. So you can see how we're sort of getting an intermittent sort of action, which is pretty cool. Let's make another one here. Oh, we're already one. Let's move these back. Add another one here. Make this 1. So this can be whatever you want. So that's not too bad. So that's our spawn rate. The other thing I think, let's make, if we click our Niagara system, let's make our loop duration 10. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. And so if you would want the jets, the steam jets lasting longer, you would have more of this timeline 0 to 1 at a value of 1. If you wanted less, then you might delete that. You might only just have 2 spikes, and then we'll get less of an emission. But let's put that back to where it was. And now, so that's fine. From curve, yeah, okay, spike. Okay, so for curve index, we want to do might be hard to see off screen, but we want to do a multiply float. And in A, we want to make this emitter normalized loop age. And in B, we have a random range float, 0 to 1. So the reason for doing the curve index like this is so that when it comes time to putting this in our scene, let's save that. If we have multiple versions, they will trigger at different times. Hopefully they should. Yep. So the reason that we made the change to that curve index, now we don't have to, otherwise they would always be in sync, turning off and on in sync. And now if we wait, this left one should turn off on its own. Yeah, cool. So that's just a way I found to randomize the on and offs that we created in our spawn rate. So let's come back here. So spawn rate, that's fine. For initialize particle, let's make lifetime min 0.066, lifetime max 0.166. These can be whatever you want, but this is what I found works for me. Uniform sprite min, we want to have a multiply float, and the same for our max, multiply float. Sprite, let's go 66. And for our max, let's have 116. And for our B value, we'll have sprite size boost, like that. Click and drag, that's fine. Now we're getting something steamy-ish. Let's go to sphere location, change the radius to 0. Add velocity in cone. Speed. Let's change this to multiply float and multiply float. Change minimum A to 300 and maximum A to 1000. And in B, let's put our velocity boost. Click and drag, velocity boost. So the other thing I want to do is for the cone axis, I want to actually automate a bit of an animation, like we've got a bit of a spiral happening, so it's not all just happening coming from a single point in space. It's almost like it's like a garden hose effect, if that makes sense. So the way I set that up is we'll go to our cone axis and go make vector. And for X, go a multiply float. And let's take our spiral anim value and put that into A. Then let's go B. We'll search for sine. So it's under dynamic inputs, sine. Equals H, that's fine. So that's all fine. Let's copy X and paste for Y. And then Z we just want straight up. And you can't see at the moment because our default value for spiral anim is 0, but if we change this to 0.3, let's you sort of see what we're getting here. And that should also animate on and off, hopefully. Is it? Yeah, so that's what we want. So at the moment I'm going to leave this to 0. Now we want to add scale sprite size, and that's fine. That can just be linear. It's fine. Save that. And we add color, and here let's add curve, color from curve. Yeah, this is what we want. And for our first opacity value, we set this to 0.5. And for our color A, set this to that value. This can be whatever you want, but I've found, yep, there we go. I found these to be good. I'm the worst tutorial maker in the world. So now we're getting something. Now we're getting something that doesn't look half bad. And that's it. That's it for the small one. So if we bring this in, let's go Control P, search for SKM. Manny, let's bring Manny out. just for some scale reference. Let's bring our small jet out. Okay, and we can move it around. That'll react to our rotation. So if you wanted to animate this rotation, you'll get some sort of nice movement there. Let's just set that to 0. And that should animate on and off. Yep. Okay, cool. So let's create our medium sized one. Open that up. And we want to change, we want to change some default values for our medium one, so let's change this to 3000. Spiral anim to 0.1. Sprite boost and velocity boost are fine. In our initialized particle, lifetime min to 0.1. Lifetime max to 0.25. Sprite size min, let's change this to 100. These are just values that I've messed around with before that I found were pretty good. Okay, that's fine. In our velocity, let's change this to 400 and 1200. So just getting a slightly bigger one now. Okay, so this is our medium. And let's do a large. So these are the same as our medium, so we're going to leave our user parameters as the same as we have for our medium. We just want to change our lifetime min to 0.2, lifetime max to 0.5. Sprite minimum is 200, sprite max is 350, and our velocity min and max is 500, 1600, maximum is 1600, and then that is our large jet stream. So if we bring this in, come on. Alright, so it doesn't look too bad. They should animate on and off by themselves too, and which is what we want. So now what we can do is you can, because of these user parameters that we set up in our system, you can then go in and let's say you want to duplicate this one. So it's going to animate on and off by itself, but we can dial in some extra. We can make that a bit wider. We can lower the spawn rate or ramp it up. We can ramp up the spiral animation, the sprite size, bring it down. So it's all about dialing in what you want. That cone angle, is that making any difference at all? Right, so the cone angle doesn't make a difference. I'm not sure why that is. But hey, everything else works, it looks like. Yeah, so that's pretty good. So if we wanted to have that, we'd probably have to boost up the sprite too. Yeah, cool. This cone angle doesn't seem to be working at all. Oh, that was a waste of time. Cone angle. Oh, I know why. Because we didn't. So you need to put your user parameter into cone angle. That is why it wasn't making a difference. So medium cone angle to here, save, and large. Oops, large. Add velocity in cone, cone angle. Right, that makes sense. Come back here, and now, now you can change that. So make that 80, but now you would need to boost. Now you would need to boost the spawn rate to get it looking something decent. The spiral animation in there. Anyway, you can just play around. Another thing I forgot to mention as well is if you go into our fountain system, you want to change the sim target to GPU compute. Just make sure that it's being simmed on the GPU, and it doesn't like dynamic bounds for some reason, so change that to fixed. And that's about it.